Hey everybody, my name is Brendan from thestocksearch.com, and today I want to talk about Bionano Genomics Stock, ticker symbol BNGO. What I want to do first is go into Google and talk about the macro picture of Bionano Genomics Stock and talk about the science behind what they're selling, and then I want to go into the earnings report to talk about their fundamentals, and then I want to go into the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Bionano Genomics if we want to buy Bionano Genomics. So now let's get started. So here we are on Google, and here's a 6-month view of Bionano Genomics trading charts here. And we can see that in the past 6 months, Bionano Genomics has been really rocketing up to the moon until February, where we began having inflation scares and valuation concerns that caused the stock to fall about 50% in about 3 months. However, if we scroll down here at the news, we see quite a few bullish articles on Bionano Genomics. So the question is, why are a lot of articles so bullish on a stock that has fallen 50% in 3 months? So if we look at some of these articles here, like this article in Seeking Alpha, we see that a lot of people are putting a lot of weight into basically the future of medicine. People believe that genomics will be a huge part of the future, and as a person who has a master's degree in biochemistry, I have to say that I do agree. Genomics is definitely an incredibly hot field at the moment, and will likely continue to stay hot as the large pharmaceuticals industry begins to invest in the new technology. So before we go further into Bionano, I want to quickly explain their product, their Saphyr sequencing system, so that we all know what their business is. Remember, even though I have a master's degree in biochemistry, I do not know everything there is to know about the product. But basically, in each of our cells in our human body, except for red blood cells, our cells contain DNA in them. This is basically the genetic code that tells our cells what to do. This genetic code is wrapped up into something called a chromosome, which are basically these dopey looking things that you may have seen pictures of. These dopey looking things, these chromosomes, are what the Saphyr machine is looking at. As you can imagine, these chromosomes who hold the code that tells our cells what to do should not have major errors in the code, or else you could have diseases. However, as the great philosopher Miley Cyrus once said, nobody's perfect. So in your cells right now, there are likely mistakes in your chromosome. Some of these mistakes in your chromosome are likely harmless, but some of these mistakes are meaningful and actually changes the way that the chromosomes look. So what the Saphyr system does is that it is a tool that scientists like me can use to see if a patient's chromosome looks abnormal, indicating that they could have a genetic disease. So after talking about the nerdy stuff of how Saphyr works, now let's talk about how Bionano Genomics Saphyr machine affects the stock price. And to explain this, I want to use the classic printer analogy in business. Basically, you can think of the Saphyr system as a computer printer. Yes, you pay money to buy the printer up front, but where the business actually makes their money is the consumables that you have to buy to use the printer, like ink cartridges. To use the Saphyr instrument, scientists like me need to prepare the human genome that is going into the Saphyr instrument. They have to buy special sample preparation kits and special chips, which are basically like ink cartridges, and those things cost money. Let me tell you, some of the consumables that I have used in the past costs thousands of dollars, and that is reflected in the ridiculously high drug prices to the consumer, but that's a separate video. If my guess is right, I do not believe that the key to Bionano's success will be the sale of the Saphyr instrument. Instead, it will be the sweet, reoccurring revenue of the consumables. To me, having a business model like this is an extremely good thing for business, not so much for the customer, honestly. However, I have to say that honestly, Bionano's technology is not really that new. There's technology like Saphyr already out there that can sequence the human genome called Sanger sequencing, and that was made back in like the 1970s. There are differences between Saphyr and Sanger. I believe Saphyr does this much faster than Sanger, but as an investor, you have to be aware that there are very well established competitors to Bionano's Saphyr tech, and that is a definite downside risk from my point of view. So after talking about Bionano's macro picture of the growing genomics field and talking about how their business model will likely benefit the company, let's head on over to Bionano's fundamentals to see how they're doing as a business. So here we are in Bionano Genomics earnings report, and my first impressions of the earnings report are not good. If we look at the total revenues, we are seeing that we are dropping total revenues by about 16% year over year. We are seeing fantastic growth in the services where we're growing around 247% year over year, which is basically the revenues from fixing broken Saphyr machines, but we see honestly disappointing sales of the Saphyr instrument year over year off 54%. So to me, that is really concerning and immediately turns me away from investing in Bionano. If you don't sell printers, then you can't charge customers to fix their printers because they didn't buy a printer. If I was to hazard a guess, I believe that if the sales of these instruments decline, then we will also see decreases in the services revenues as well. That is not quite something that I would like to see as an investor. Next, looking at the operating expenses on the earnings report, which is this block on the earnings report here, we see that yes, research and development spending is increasing by about 13% year over year, which I'm actually fine with. As a biotech company, you have to continue investing in research and development to make sure that your product stays on the cutting edge of technology. However, if you look at the sales general and administrative line here, we see that we are increasing sales general and administrative by about 54% year over year, and that is something I don't like to see at all. That means that the amount of steak dinners that the CEOs are eating are increasing by about 54%. And to me, that is not really pushing the business forward. Yes, sales and marketing is important to a business because you have to tell people what your product is. However, to me, the return on sales, marketing, and administrative is not as good as it would be if the money is spent on research. So to me, this growth of 40% in total operating expenses year over year is not something that I like to see and is quite disappointing, honestly. Lastly, taking a look at the net loss here, we see that we are accelerating net loss by about 38% year over year. We are increasing the money that we are losing. With a market cap of about 2 billion USD, the question is, why is Bionano, who's losing around 41 million United States dollars per quarter with accelerating net loss, worth 2 billion United States dollars? Again, that's a question you have to answer by yourself before you invest in Bionano. A possible answer could be that the genomics field is a growing field and that the Saphyr tech is primed to take a large market share. However, you have to think about if the pros outweighs the cons of valuation and, most importantly, slowing revenue growth. So after talking about the fundamentals of Bionano Genomics stock, let's head on over to the trading charts to see if there's a level or two to buy Bionano if we want to buy Bionano Genomics. So here we are in Bionano Genomics trading charts, and we can see that ever since the inflation scare and higher interest rates came into focus, we've really fallen off a cliff until we hit around the $7 support level made from these two candles over here. We can see that we even hit the $7 resistance level again just a few days ago. So because we tested this $7 support level a few times and it has held, I think that that would be an entry point that I would be watching if I wanted to get into Bionano Genomics. We can see that the closest resistance level is actually near the 950s here, made by these candles over here. So that's actually like a 20% upside potential from the $7 level. So a short-term trader could potentially trade this from the 7s to the 950s and make a cool profit. However, you have to be careful that if the $7 support level breaks, then we could be heading all the way down to the 550s, which are made from the bottoms of these candles over here, and is actually where we tested once more just a couple weeks ago. Looking at the MACD here, we see that our MACD is about to cross over into positive territory, which is a positive sign for the stock that indicates that the short-term momentum, represented by the blue line, is about to be stronger than the long-term momentum which we've been seeing, which is represented by the orange line. So that's a bullish sign, indicating that there's strong short-term momentum in the stock. Looking at the RSI here, we see it's not really telling me anything because we're waving out calmly in neither the oversold territory, which is below 30 here, nor the overbought territory, which is above 70 here. So what will I do with Bionano? As I've said before, yes, I do think genomics will be a big part of my pharmaceuticals industry in the future, and that Saphyr could potentially play a role in that. However, I am very concerned about the fundamentals of the business, mostly about the drop in revenues year over year and the rising administration costs. Honestly, I'm not too interested at Bionano stock at the moment, so because of that, we would probably have to drop below $5 a share before I even start considering adding Bionano to my portfolio. So that was my review on Bionano Genomics stock. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you have any questions or if you caught any mistakes, also drop me a comment down below. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching and I hope you have a great day.